update and resolve for dynamic trim options. I don't use this very often, but I figure I'd give you a little rundown on how this works. We have a few different edit options right here in the edit page. It basically changes what your cursor is doing. By default, it's on this arrow, which is A for arrow, and this is just called a selection tool or selection mode. And this will let you select a clip, or you can hit Command and choose audio or video. You can move clips around, that sort of thing. The next one I do use quite a bit, and it's called Trim Edit Mode. Now what this does is change your icon into instead of a selector, you can still select it, but it does a few different things depending on where your mouse is placed. So you can see our icons change depending on how I hover over the clip. In fact, there's two of them here. Depending on if you get down kind of low, you can see it sort of squeezes together and the arrows go on the outside versus this one where the arrows are on the inside. Now what this does is it will trim your clip depending on where you're sitting in it. Right now I have the full clip, so the very first frame and last frame is present. But if we trim this back, you can see this white box on the right. This is where all our extra footage is. So let's say we wanted the shot to end here. This is saying we have 2 seconds and 3 frames of a handle. So now that means I can trim inside this clip that amount. So if I hover in the middle here, you can see that white icon appears again, and I could trim this back to about here. But now that means our shot is starting here instead of right there. So you can trim the front and the back with this. Now you can move it around still if you go lower and you get your icon to change. Right now you can think of it as keeping it in place and sort of moving the internals of it. But if we go here where the icons have the arrow on the outside, now we're grabbing the clip. So it kind of does the same thing. Now I don't know if you can command click, doesn't look like it. So, oh, you can actually. So if you needed to just leave it on here, you actually can do that. Now, another thing I like to do in trim mode here, which is T for trim, I'll like to use this roller edit. So if we get over here towards the edge of the clip, you can see our icon changes to this little bracket with what looks like a film strip and an arrow. If I click and hold and drag to the right, you can see I'm pulling the clip in, and you can see our little white icon, our box on the outside is letting us know we're trimming the endpoint. Same thing over here. So a lot of times if I make an edit and maybe I'm lining up audio, I'm looking at my waveform and I'm just trimming it to get it to start at a good spot. So that's one way of trimming it. Now you can also trim another way here with this dynamic trim, and that's a W. It works a little bit different. If you hit W, you can see our playhead turns yellow, and this is a new preference here on whether it's going to switch to this view up at the top. So under editing, under user, we now have this second checkbox, automatically enable dynamic trim when opening trim editor. Normally this little preview window doesn't show up there. Now what that does is if we start trimming it, you can see it's showing the frame that we're on, and right now it's black because we don't have a shot right here to show us the cross. There's the first frame of our next shot, and W again, click on this clip. It's kind of giving us a little lead in. So if we were to start trimming, you can see the first frame. I like to do this if I'm lining up some kind of optical or something and I have a frame I want to end on. Now, this dynamic trim also does a couple other things. It'll snap to the start of your shot. So if my playhead's right here and I turn it on and off, it'll snap to the end of the clip. Now, why is it doing that? You can actually control this clip with your JKL keys. So right now, the start of this clip is 8:03. If I hit the L key with this on and the clip selected, you can see it just takes off if you hold it down. So it moves the clip for you with your JKL, J to the left and L to the right. Now you can also hit play. You can see our playhead snaps to what's called a pre-roll. So before the first frame of this cut right here. So if I hit spacebar again, this is giving you like a cut preview. Now another thing that's cool is you can select the edge of the clip here, and I'll move the playhead out of the way. You can see it turns green. There's a little green highlight, whether it's on the end of the clip here or the front of the clip, depending on what you want to do. Now I can use the comma and the period keys to fine tune where this cut is happening, and then hit play and it'll give me that preview again. So that's another way you can trim your clips here. If I want to trim the end and hit comma and bring it back a little bit. Now you can do that. You can also hit this T key and trim the inside. Now this is going to leave your in and out points the same, but once again, move everything that's inside the two cuts. So that's it. I haven't been using that dynamic trim very much, but it might be something worth experimenting on. And at least now you see how it functions if you guys want to give it a shot. All right, thanks for watching. See you guys on the next video.